The average person has approximately 6,000 thoughts per day. If you mix the interactions we have with our outside world, such as the people we meet, the traffic we experience, the news we watch on TV, you begin to realize we are bombarded with information overload. Navigating through this vast ocean of outside stimulus places a lot of pressure on us, both mentally and spiritually. We can try our best to ensure that we control our circumstances, yet the human experience is spontaneous. It's filled with uncertainty and constant change. The more organized and structured we become, the more we begin to realize how unstructured the world is around us. Then where does this leave us? Are we to assume that we have no control in our life and it's in a constant state of motion, pulling us in one direction and then another? Not quite. There is power, yet we have to change our perception. Before we dive into a solution, we should understand what happens to your mind as we interact with situations in the world. When we come into contact with an event or a situation that triggers us, our brain gets engaged. More specifically, a part of the brain called the amygdala. This small almond-shaped structure's main function is in the emotional responses, including feelings of happiness, fear, anger, and anxiety. But there is another part of our brain called the prefrontal lobes. This region deals with logical and critical thinking. Then why is it that we react in a way that we regret later on? It's called an amygdala hijack. In these tense situations, the amygdala takes over and adrenaline is released into the body, preparing us for a fight or flight situation. We are flooded with a sea of feelings and emotions, and naturally, it's difficult to take control. Understanding what happens on the inside, let's now take an exploration on the outside of the body. We must first understand that situations which occur to us are separate from us. Imagine extending your hand out in front of you as far as you can go. Then, place an object in your hand. Let's call this object a situation or an event which triggers you. And between you and this object lies a space. And during times, an event that triggers us, we do not think of this space and we quickly react. But there is a difference between reacting and responding. A reaction is instant, instinctive, and purely emotional. It's driven by the unconscious mind. That's why you often seem to react without thinking. A reaction is based entirely in the heat of the moment. When you react, you rarely do give any consideration for the long-term consequences of your actions. You get triggered, and when you react, you have taken your power and given it away. On the other hand, a response is fueled by the more evolved part of our brain, the prefrontal cortex. This part of the brain is responsible for our more complex thoughts. By responding and not reacting, you consciously choose to stop and use different faculties of your mind. Now, if we go back to the concept of identifying the space between you and an event, we can hear this explained more elegantly by Viktor Frankl, Austrian neurologist, psychologist, philosopher, and Holocaust survivor. He said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Thus, we all do have power, immense power and faculty over our lives. Yet, we have been looking in the wrong places. If we change our perception about situations that occur to us, we see that there lies a space, and in that space between us and the stimulus, we have control. We have the control to consciously step back and choose how we will respond. Even if it's a millisecond, that field of energy, time, and space is available for all of us. We can mold it and shape it to what we choose, because the more we actively and consciously develop a relationship with this space and field of energy, the more we become intentional with our lives. It allows us to reclaim our life and not be victim to situations and circumstances. The world is constantly changing. It's spontaneous, and if we live our lives trying to control outside events and situations, then we are leading a life that is in a state of tension and anxiety. But with the knowledge that we have gained and the confidence to know that we have the power to control the space and field, we can take our lives in a completely new direction. You are powerful beyond your dreams. You have the ability to respond to each situation. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I wish you all the best in your exploration through life. I hope that you can subscribe to this channel and share your thoughts on this subject by leaving a comment below. I truly enjoy hearing other perspectives, and collectively, we all can help each other reshape this beautiful thing we call life.